Introduction. In these days of advanced thinking, it is a matter of common observation that we have left many of the old landmarks behind, and that we are now pressing forward to greater heights and to a wider horizon than that which represented the mind content of our progenitors. It has been suggested that human progress moves in cycles, and that we are continually reverting to the state of affairs and the theoretical outlook upon life that held the minds of former generations. The further suggestion is that we do not trace the same circle on the same plane, but that each successive return to our former condition finds us somewhat higher in the scale of civilization and mental development. In fine, we are travelling by gradual ascent around a helix or spiral, so that our progress is always upwards but not always onwards. On the contrary, it would appear to be backwards. The present high and artificial standard of living leaves little enough of either power, time, or inclination for self-development. Consequently, we have to learn as we go, and all our information has to be so presented that he who runs may read. We have become a race of paragraph readers and precise writers. The bulk of the population of the world has also become parasitic and opportunist. Always following closely upon the food line, with eyes lowered to the search, they seek ever to reap where they have not sown, to prey upon the faculty of others, to take profit from another man's labour. It is quite suitable in this place to ask whether after all the game is worth the candle. A few men have been able to study the laws of nature and to perceive in them the imprint of the eternal. They were aware that life throbbed with the rhythm that was the very heartbeat of the earth on which they lived. They scanned the heavens and set the bounds of the seasons. They watched the moving worlds among the steadfast stars and saw that at the root of all this pageantry of the midnight skies there lay an ordered plan. They studied to understand this plan in regard to human life, and they discovered the secret of the cyclic law. Modern science has discerned a law of periodicity in regard to natural phenomena, and almost the first thing that is required by way of demonstration is the graph, whether of frequency or energy, showing these features in the course of their recurrence. The periodicity of sunspots, for example, shows a return of maximum frequency after a period of 11.2 years. And though no specific reason is advanced for this marked periodicity, it is plainly enough demonstrated in the chart or graph. It has been suggested that the cause of electrical storms is the sunspot. Modern scientific experiments have proved that sunspots definitely interfere with radioactivity. The periodicity of sunspots is now a well-known and calculated phenomenon. Investigations and suggestions have been advanced in regard to the periodicity of zoonotic diseases, whether epidemic or endemic. Facts are brought forward in order to show that nature works by a species of pulsation, answering to a definite beat of time, all of which proves that the earth and nature are governed by the law of periodicity. And once this secret has been mastered, we have placed our finger on the pulse of the universe. Pluto, the present limit of our solar system, was discovered as a result of an actuarial calculation, whereas the position of Neptune was pinpointed by a study of the perturbations of the nearer planet, Uranus, which of course was in turn brought to light by the perturbations of the planet Saturn. This is a demonstration of the solidarity of the solar system, showing that nothing in this wide universe exists for and to itself alone. No part of the universe is so distant, but that it is in immediate relation with every other part. Man cannot escape the net of a material necessity. Therefore, in considering this law of periodicity, we are brought into direct relation with these very bodies of our system, which are the occasion of all periodicity whatsoever. Every single note in the octave produces its own set of vibrations, which we call a note, and these vibrations produce their several sets of sense impressions. When occurring in definite combinations, they form chords, which give rise to a complex of impression which we call harmony or discord. It is even so in regard to the planetary spheres, each of which has its own characteristic and place in the system. Indeed, we cannot think of a system apart from this allocation of specific function in celestial economy attributable to each of the planets, nor can we think of a system as a correlation of detached parts or organs, but only and always as a correlation of all the parts or organs, with their specific functions interacting one upon another. So long as the solar system coheres, this interaction of its planetary constituents will go on, merely waiting upon our recognition. The ancients understood better what little they are presumed to have known than we, whose vast overlay of encyclopedic knowledge may claim to understand any one of the multitudinous facts which go to our modern learning. They looked upon nature as a composite whole, nor did they set any bounds to the field of her operations. They had more than enough of evidence in support of the fact that nature does not cease to exist where we cease to perceive her. They understood the limitation of the senses. The law of cyclic unfoldment may be regarded as the pendulum of time. The pendulum of time is affected by the interplay of planetary forces, which also affects human life. From this knowledge arose a complete system of prognostic astronomy, which today goes by the name of astrology. Centuries ago, astrology became departmentalized and remains so today. Thus, we have the mundane, genethliacal or natal, horary and geodetic departments of interpretation of planetary influence. Fundamentally, they are the same, but a brief description of each will enable the reader to distinguish between them. Mundane astrology is directed to the prediction of the trend of events in the state or country for which the chart of the heavens is set. It extends to the prediction of outstanding events affecting the welfare of the country, the fiscal and commercial affairs of the people, the relations of the government and the people, and similar matters of public importance. In this connection, the ingresses of the sun to the 4 cardinal signs of the zodiac, which are used to define the seasons, are employed, and the chart of the heavens for the moment of the sun's ingress is set for the longitude and latitude of the capital. Subsidiary indications are derived from the time of the lunations, which occur within the limits of the quarter of the year under consideration. In this system, the significance of the signs of the zodiac occupied by the planets at the time is of considerable importance, as each sign is held to have rule of specific countries. Very many remarkably correct forecasts have been made by modern astrologers. Natal astrology is related to individual nativities and seeks through a knowledge of the nature and operation of the planets and signs of the zodiac to define the potentialities of a person, the physical constitution, health, characteristics, personal peculiarities or defects, financial prospects, position, occupation, marriage, progeny, friendships and alliances, etc., are usually dealt with. It is not presumed that this system of interpretation goes further than to define aptitude, potentiality and opportunity for self-expression. Horary astrology relies upon the sympathetic relations that exist between the cosmic vibrations and man, and seeks thereby to interpret and define any issue that may arise. This is done by reference to a figure of the heavens, set for the time at which any crisis occurs in the affairs of life. Owing to the ascendancy of the more rigid methods of mathematical astrology as applied to the doctrine of nativities, the use of horary astrology has greatly declined, it being held that what is not potential in the horoscope of birth cannot find eventuation in the course of daily life. Geodetic astrology is the more modern aspect of the science, which has relation to the prediction of terrestrial phenomena, storms, etc., as affections of the body of the earth itself. It has assumed an instant importance from the fact that earthquakes have been accurately predicted, as well as floods and storms. In this system, the scientific basis of astrology is adhered to very rigidly, and the solidarity of the solar system is continually brought into evidence by reference to the geocentric positions of the major planets, that is, their positions as seen from the centre of the Earth. In this connection, eclipses play an important part as premonitory indications of internal disturbance of the Earth, the subsequent formation of definite angular positions of the planets on the line of the eclipse being stimulating factors which bring those indications into effect. It is open to any person of average intelligence, with the aid of an astronomical ephemeris reduced to geocentric equivalents from the nautical almanac, and any one of the recognised standard works on the subject of astrology, to examine and prove the matter for himself.